this little chart that I've made this myself because I feel like it's a lot. I have another chart that I feel like is more confusing. This one I feel like helps me. It's very simple. So basically you see that on the top column, it's first tier and it says for commercial, you know, what you have to do, 15th day of the third calendar month to both the OC and the original contractor and the owner. And then for first tier residential, 15th day of the second calendar month to both the OC, the original contractor and owner. And then you move over to the second tier. And you do need to do the 2 notices, but you can see I put a little asterisk because, like I said, you can combine those into one notice that's sent by the 15th day of the second calendar month. And then obviously for second tier residential, it's the same. So basically residential notices are going to be the same whether you whether you are a first tier or a second tier subcontractor, you will send the same notice for residential. Okay, so I do want to talk about each month explained because I feel like this is an issue I run into a lot, and a lot of our clients have questions about, and a lot of lawyers have questions about it. And so as you recall, the statute says, go back and just look at it really quick. Oops. So it says that, you know, for commercial properties, you have to send the notice by the 15th day of the third calendar month following each month in which labor was performed or materials delivered. Okay, so what does that mean? So what that means is basically that you're going to have to be, depending on how long the project is going on or how long your client or you have been doing work, you're going to have to send notices on a recurring or rolling basis. So I have an example here in this slide. And I'll explain it, and y'all might have questions about this, but also I have a chart for commercial only on the next page that kind of breaks it down a little bit easier for this rolling notice issue. So if you're a first tier subcontractor and you do work from January until March, okay, for a project, and notice has to be sent for each month that you were not paid. So the notice deadline for work done in January is April 15th. Right? It's the 15th day of the third month. So, but what that means is that you can because you don't have to actually send that notice until April 15th, according to the statute, you can send the notice by April 15th of all of the unpaid work from January, February, and March. Okay. So you only have to send 1 letter for those 3 months. Great. So that's awesome. However, if you do work from January to May, you will have to send a separate notice letter for any unpaid work that was occurred from April 16th, okay? Because if you go back and think about it, the notice, you have to send it by April 15th for January, February, and March. Well, you're not, and you worked from, you know, April 16th until May. Well, you're not gonna have those amounts included on your January, February, and March letter. So now you need to send a letter to the GC and the owner that includes your invoices from April 16th until the last day in May, and then that notice does not have to be sent until July 15th. So I think that this is an issue that a lot of people get kind of hung up on, and it is, I feel like, super confusing. And we file a lot of liens all over the country, and I would say that this is probably one of the most confusing things that I've seen, because people just don't realize that they have to, if they're working on a long project, that they're going to have to continue to send notices, recurring notices. So I just think everyone should sort of watch out for that. The nice part is that if your client's a general contractor, obviously you don't have to worry about it because general contractors don't have to send notice. Okay, so here is the deadline chart that I used this when I was starting out and trying to figure everything out. It's pretty old, and it's still valid and everything. I find that it's a little bit hard to read, but like I said, y'all are gonna have access to this PowerPoint, and you can kind of see how up here, over here, you can look at month when the labor or the materials was furnished. Let's say your client tells you it was January, you know that from the invoices and the work dates. Well, then, you know, here it tells you the second tier and lower subcontractors, you know, they actually tells you the date, March 15th. okay? And then for first tier, right, April 15th. And then it is also going to tell you the date that you have to actually file. So the lien, which is, the 15th day of the fourth month. So, and this is all going from January. So I do think that this is a good chart, and, having access to this is very helpful for when you're, especially when you kind of get something in quickly from a client and they want to know very quickly. You can kind of access this chart and let them know pretty quickly. And in a lot of times, you're going to have to send something out pretty fast with the way things go. And a lot of I would say a lot of my construction clients know the 15th is a day that's a big day. So they usually try to call me up before the 15th, like maybe on the 12th or the 13th.